I think that's true. I think you guys are the same way probably as you get older will have better sex. And I think that's true for me. The older I got, the better sex has gotten, and that's true. And of course, it says in the study, though, that 40 to 44-year-olds, which is my age range, are the 58% of the happiest, and then are very happy. And then the 70% happy people are 65 and over. So something happens between like 50 and 65 where you're just not very happy sexually, and then like between 19 and 30. So I don't really understand what that's about, but do you think when you're 65 years old, you're going to really be just as horny as you are now?
Hell yeah.
You do?
Hell yeah.
With Viagra and all those kind of things.
No, I don't need because there's plenty of 60-something-year-olds out here that don't need any Viagra.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I mean, I
sure hope I don't need it either, but let's see what happens.
I used to think that about people who were like in their 50s. I was like, oh, they don't get hard, they don't get hard anymore. No, there's plenty of 50-year-old men that get hard instantaneously.
Totally, I've been with them before. That's true. Yes, of course.
I mean, mid-50s, because people used to tease me about that years. I mean, when I was like in my early 20s, and I was messing around with like a 48-year-old guy, and they were like, "Oh, he's so old. I bet you can't get it up." I was like, "No, trust me, boo boo. Everything works just fine."
That's the other thing I want to say about this, and that's the last thing I want to say about it is that. And this is the truth. Older men have more experience sexually, obviously, and therefore, generally, they're better lovers sexually. And
I agree.
Yes, and so that's one reason I'm so spoiled, because most of the men I've dated have been older. Now, I've dated the guy I just told you about was younger than me by 3 years or something, but he was, really great in bed too. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, they've been more experienced and therefore better in bed. So I think that there are definitely positives as you get older to sex and being gay and everything. I think it's a good thing. So anyway,
I agree. So shout out to all the 50-plus-year-old men out there that's getting good sex every day. Getting it in. And if it's some 50-year-old man out there that ain't getting it in and wants to get it in, holla at me. I'm just saying. Because I ain't getting none either. I'm not getting. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not talking to anyone. I ain't getting none. So I mean, I wouldn't mind getting some dick every now and then. I'm just saying.
No, well, you're not getting any, because I'm telling you, whether I'm married, not married, whatever, I'm getting it. So it doesn't matter. I always.
Well, no, I mean, here's my thing. I need to get it on a regular basis. I don't need this like at your convenience type thing. I need it like.
You need to have more confidence in yourself, because I'm telling you, being a gay man, you can go find sex anytime you want it. Just
but see, here's the thing, though. But it's like. My thing, this is just in my head, but I feel like a lot of people, and I would say a lot of people, there's a small percentage of men who will lie about what they got, as far as like, because a lot of people like walk around here with STDs, and they lie about, like back in the day, like 10, 15 years ago, they would be a little bit more upfront, like, okay, well, I got this, or I got HIV or something like that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong if you don't have HIV, whatever the case may be. But now it's to the point people hide that shit. They don't tell you. And before you know it, you go and get tested, and you got some shit.
Jason, it doesn't. First of all, it doesn't matter whether they've HIV or something, syphilis or whatever the fuck it is. Well, let me finish my point. You don't know what I'm going to say. Whatever they have, because you should be protecting yourself regardless of what they say. It doesn't matter what they say. You should assume that they have something regardless of what they say.
Well, no, and that's what I do. But I'm just saying. People now, I mean, because I always use protection, but my thing is that I'm just saying there are individuals out there, gay and straight, that withhold some information. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
and they purposely do it.
They do.
So
yeah, they do.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you're up front, we cool. If you hide some shit, we got a problem.
Well, if they're up front, you're not going to do anything anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah. So all right. Moving on. So, yes, shout out to all the 50-year-old men. And then, like I said, if you want to, holler at me. Okay, moving on. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, no, I'm gonna say that we're gonna include that in the category of bullshit. We're gonna move on to something a little bit different. So a few shows ago. Well, you know what? Nah, I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so there's a topic going around. I'm going through my show topic. So there is a preacher in Texas Fort Worth to be exact, which is like right next door to our asses. Um, he was preaching about pretty much how he wants the remaining that the Orlando shooting victims were like scums of the earth, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was preaching about how they should die and they got what they deserved.
Yeah. What
And
else is
here's
new?
my thing. First of all, a preacher wouldn't say some shit like that if you a real preacher, okay? Like, he was like, they're all perverts and pedophiles and they're the scum of the earth and, the earth is a better place now. Like, this is coming from our pastor, okay? And I'm like,
Because pastors are just so full of love. Please give me a fucking break.
I'm like, okay, I'm like, you can't possibly be a pastor or you over there. I'm like, you cannot possibly be a pastor saying that type of shit. You cannot be a man of God as you claim saying some shit like that.
Which God?
Well, the God that he serves.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Go
I'm
on.
just saying. So, I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Especially that coming from a pastor.
I personally don't. I personally don't hold pastors in any higher esteem than anyone else on the fucking planet. So to me, it doesn't make. They're just another human being who happens to be calling themselves a man of God, as you put it, or whatever, and putting themselves in front of a congregation and telling people what to do and think and how to feel. So I don't really have a positive view of them anyway. So especially because the majority of them are fire, brimstone, faggots going to hell and everything else. That's the majority of pastors, especially in the Christian religion. That's the majority, in my opinion. I do not think the majority are, let's just love our gay brothers and sisters. Most of them are not like that. So I'm not surprised at all. That's how I think.
Christian?
I think. I mean, I don't know. There's no way I can expand on anything that Donovan just said because he said exactly everything I had to say. I mean, again, I don't really give anybody that's in a higher power in church any more credit than left and right. Every type of person there is in this world, there's always another person that doesn't like them or who they are, what they represent, or their culture or their religion or blah 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 blah. It's just another person. So
right,
whatever, they're preaching hate, and the people there know they're preaching hate, and at the end of the day, that's what it is. And just like they say in his religion, one day he's gonna have to answer to the judgment that he judged and all those hateful things he said about all those people. So
that's what you gotta just say before you say something.
That's all you could do, boo.
That's what's really interesting to me is that people who are this like big on like hating gays and whoever they hate, they never think about what they're saying about if they really believe in all the bullshit all the stuff they're saying about their Bible and everything else, and they die and they have judgment day, like you said. They have to face God and explain to God why they were these horrible hate mongering assholes. But they themselves see it as doing God's work. But that's what's the most ironic thing.
Well, it depends on who you ask, because other Christians will say God's work is spreading love and accepting all and not judging anybody. So,
right.
Because until you're perfect,
don't sit by me.
But you know what I'm saying? Until you're perfect, you can't judge anybody, and that's what it essentially says in the Bible. So.
Right.
Depends on, you can't have selective Bible quotes.
But no, that's the whole problem, Christian. The whole fucking Bible is selective Bible quotes because one part of the Bible says one thing and then it contradicts another part of the Bible says another thing. And some people say, oh, well, that's Old Testament. Well, so New Testament counts, but the Old Testament doesn't? No. So then the whole Genesis thing about how the world got made, it doesn't really exist. That never happened. Well, yes, it did. Well, then does the Old Testament, matter or does it not? I mean, people just don't fucking have any real logic about it. So fuck it. Whatever. You can't win is my point. You can't argue against stupid. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Other topic. Now, this is something that bothered me, and I really wanted to address this because I do feel like this is an issue. So this happened. I wanted to discuss it on last week's show, but we were focused more on Orlando, so I want to save it for this week. Well, actually, it happened 2 weeks ago, but yeah. So there is a young college kid who was convicted of rape, and for his sentence, he was sentenced to only 6 months in jail. Now, I don't understand how he is only sentenced to 6 months in jail for rape when you have had other rapists who've committed similar crimes and they get years in jail. So once they found out, well, the public found out that he was only sentenced to 6 months in jail. His name is Brock Allen Turner. Um, Social media went on a frenzy, of course. Like, how can he only get 6 months, and yada 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 yada. And they was like, oh well, if he was black or Hispanic, he would have got a lot longer than that. And then something funny happened because there was someone, well, not he's not a friend of mine, but it's a friend of a friend who was like, oh, I am so sick of hearing about, oh, if he was black, it would have been different. If he would have been Hispanic, it would have been different. I'm like, but it's the fucking truth. No black man would have got no 6 months in jail for raping a woman. Let's be real. Okay?
Amen.
So, what are you guys' thoughts on that? But he was like, I'm just so sick of hearing about if he was black or if he was Hispanic. But it's the fucking truth.
Well, this guy, whoever this is, or his friend or whatever, said that. I think what he's really reacting to is that he's sick of hearing people talk about race and about being important or about being relevant in the justice system. But the thing is, like you just said, it is relevant, and it's proven through case after case after study that black men especially are treated much harsher than a white man in the justice system for the same crime. And
exactly, it's a double standard in the judicial system.
I mean, it's a fact. It's a proven fact. Yet people who are racist or sensitive about race or whatever and don't want to talk about it will say that it's just hyperbole and it's not true or whatever. But it's provable and it is true, and it's not fair. And the fact that it's an epidemic in America and has been for so long, that's why there's so many more black men in jail than there are white men, etc. It's, of course, systemic and everything else. So it's not just because black men are just so much worse than white men. No, they're not. And actually, when it comes to drugs, especially in suburbia, there are more white men who use drugs than there are black men in the urban cities who are getting arrested or whatever, but they don't go to jail for 10, 20, 30 years. They go to jail for a month or two or whatever. So it is true what you're saying. And so I don't blame you for being upset. It pissed me off, too. Pissed me very much off.
So originally he was facing up to 14 years in prison.
Right.
That was the maximum. He only got 6 months in prison due to the fact because he had a lack of criminal history. Let's be clear. It didn't say no criminal history. It said lack, okay? Mm-hmm. And so therefore his attorneys went for a lighter sentence.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, y'all have got – let me tell you something. When I was 20 years old, I was on a rampage, thought I was invincible, getting all kinds of speeding tickets and traffic violations and all kinds of shit, right?
Yeah.
Ended up on like $1,200 in like parking tickets, speeding tickets, that kind of shit. And I just didn't want to pay because I just thought I was invincible. Do you realize when I went to court, the judge was willing to lock me up for a year for fucking traffic violations? Traffic violation. You go throw my ass in jail for a year over traffic violation, but this motherfucker gets 6 months for a rape conviction?
Right. Exactly.
Like, seriously?
Yeah. Was
like,
the judge
you want to lock
Caucasian?
me up for running red lights and going 15 or 40.
Was the judge Caucasian?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised.
And I'm just like, you're willing to give me a year in jail for owing $1,200 in fines. He goes out and unlawfully has sex with another woman.
Yeah. Against
her will, and you give him 6 months?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, does that even sound right? I mean, like, seriously.
No. The justice system is fucking fucked up. It has been forever, and especially in America where race is such an issue. So, no, you're absolutely right. But the question is, what can you do about it? What can you do about it? I mean, the system is set up the way it's set up. So what can you do to change it? Other than have more minority, I guess, racial minority judges or whatever on the bench, which is increasing, but I mean it's still a fraction, and to actually not have the racism play into the judgments that people make. But I don't think it's possible. First of all, that's the other thing. Just like we were saying about the pastor, people hold them in such high esteem, like there's just some god or something. I'm the same way with judges. Judges are human beings, and they're fallible, and they have their own prejudices and their own beliefs, and that will see, even though they're supposed to go by the letter of the law, and they may, it still seasons their judgment and how they